Your patient went to the emergency room, they shot x-rays, and the radiologist said there was no instability present. We get this question a lot. Well, first of all, that read that you got at the emergency room is about a 45-second read. It's called a -22 professional component read. Radiologists read x-rays all day long of the cervical spine. And they're a very fast read. If you've ever seen the read, it looks like an auctioneer talking into a dictation bone. It's just a very, very rapid read. What are they looking for? They're looking for catastrophic conditions. They're looking for fractures. They're looking for any sort of infection. They're looking for any sort of disease state. They're looking for degenerative change. They're looking maybe for loss of curve. But they're also looking sometimes for something that you can't see, which is instability. So you can't see instability. We've proven that over and over again. You cannot see instability on X-ray film. It's a measured phenomenon. Right? Now you might be able to see some remnants of excessive motion. You might say, okay, there's an anterolisthesis here and there's a retrolisthesis there, and of course that's excessive motion. You might see that on one vertebra, but what about the rest of the motion units? What about the angular findings? Okay, there's so much more to an excessive motion test than just eyeballing a set of x-rays and saying, I don't see any. Now, you're going to have people say, well, wait a second, what about that read that they got at the emergency room that said they didn't see any instability? So what? There's a test called an echocardiogram. It's to test the function of your heart. All cardiologists in the country are very familiar with it. Echocardiostenographers are the people that deliver it. Obviously, they're very familiar with it. They're the techs. Now, no cardiologist is going to look in at a ultrasound of the heart, look in at the study and say, oh my gosh, this is to the point how your heart is functioning. Why? Because it's a measured phenomenon. If you look at the effraction rate, or you're looking at the ability or the function of the heart, it's a measured phenomena. They're going to take that image and they're going to freeze frame the heart in full relaxation, and they're going to freeze frame it in full contraction, and they're going to measure the chambers. When they measure the chambers, they're going to come up with the volume that the heart is pumping, or the capability of the heart. And they're going to determine that not by eye, they're going to determine it by measurements. Excessive motion to the spine is not determined by eye, it's determined by measurements. Your eye cannot see. If I hold up my hand in front of my face, obviously each one of these digits have different angles. You can't tell me what those angles are. You can't tell me what the difference of those angles are. They have to be measured. Right? So this whole idea really comes, this idea of, hey, I got this type of read, and then I got this type of read, and I don't know the difference, really comes from the fact that the market very, very little knows what injuries to the spine look like. There's only 3 injuries that you can have to the spine. An injury is a derangement. In order for something to be damaged, you have to derange it. You have to misalign it. You have to wound it. You have to damage it. These are all words that can be interchanged. To the spine only has 2 tissues, bone and connective tissue. That's it. The spinal cord is not part of the spine, different system. Spinal nerves, not part of the spine, different system. Spinal muscles, not part of the spine, different system. Tendons, basically with the muscles, different part of the body. It's not part of the spine. Spine's bone and connective tissue. Bone is a fracture. Connective tissue, 2 types. The disc, pick it up on MRI, bioimaging marker is the herniation or the displacement of the disc. Non-disc ligaments, spinal support ligaments, those imaging biomarker is excessive motion. The more excessive motion, more damage to those ligaments. It's simple. And those ligaments include the facet. So when you're getting an excessive motion test, you're also getting a facet function test. The more excessive motion there is in the motion unit, the more problems there are with the facet. The facet is a leading pain generator in the spine itself. Right? So it's a measured phenomena, though. So it's a very easy question to answer because the radiologist is not designed to pick up the excessive motion. That's why, think of it this way. Have you ever seen a radiology report coming out of an emergency room center. The patient goes in, they had an auto accident, they've had damage to the neck. Now you go into the emergency room, they take flexion extension x-rays, and basically in the emergency room radiology report, you see, oh, this is how much movement there is back and forth on C2, C3, C3, C4, C4, C5, C5, C6, C6, C7. And you see it right in the report. And oh, by the way, this is the difference in the angular findings. Here's the angular findings for each motion unit. Here's the difference of those angular findings. You're never going to see that. Why? Because it's a totally different procedure. And so it's the easiest thing to explain. Now, when you're doing this procedure in the personal injury space, you want the procedure, you as the practitioner want the procedure to be done in an unbiased, by an unbiased independent third party, using the highest level of professional equipment that they can, preferably FDA cleared type procedures, type technology. So that's what you want for credibility in the market. But it's very easy to answer the question. Hopefully I have answered the question. Doctors, if you don't have an account set up with Spinal and Kinetic, I highly recommend you call us and get with one of our people and find out more about us, but set up an account. Start using us. You'll start to realize the significant difference that what you're doing and the level of professionalism that you're starting to display in the market. And that's what we hope for all doctors in the injury market.